It's just kind of who I am. I want to pour into my team as much as possible, and I'm pretty in tune with my body. I can read a room pretty well, and so when I see we're lacking a little bit, you got to step up. But if we're good, you're just there to encourage and give people confidence.
The WNBA is currently a powder keg, and the fuse was just lit by the most unlikely person in the league, creating a situation that has the front office and the players' union shaking in their boots. For months, we've watched as the record-breaking rookie Caitlin Clark has been the target of hard fouls, heated shook talk, and what many are calling a targeted campaign of hazing. But what's happening behind the scenes is far more sinister than anything we see on the court during the broadcast. It turns out there's a massive divide forming within the players' union, the WNBA, and Sophie Cunningham has found herself right in the crosshairs of a shocking blackball attempt that has left fans absolutely livid and questioning the integrity of the entire organization. You might think these players would be united during the league's biggest financial boom in history, but instead, it looks like high school drama has taken over the professional ranks, and the stakes couldn't be higher for the future of the sport. Sophie Cunningham has never been one to stay quiet or play the part of the submissive athlete, and her aggressive, unapologetic style of play has earned her plenty of enemies among the old guard who view her as a villain rather than a competitor. But nobody expected the WNBA to actually turn its back on her in such a public and disparaging way. While the union is legally and ethically supposed to represent every single player on the roster, fans have noticed a glaring, undeniable pattern of Sophie being intentionally left out of promotional materials, social media shoutouts, and even key discussions regarding the league's explosive growth. It's a situation that felt like a soft ban, a calculated attempt to quiet one of the league's most vibrant and marketable personalities just because she doesn't fit the specific, sanitized mold that the union leadership wants to project. The real shocker, however, came when Caitlin Clark, the woman everyone expected to stay out of the locker room politics and focus on her own game, decided she had seen enough of the mean girl antics and stepped into the line of fire. Word has started to leak from sources close to the teams that Caitlin didn't just sit idly by while the union tried to sideline Sophie. She reportedly confronted union representatives directly and made it clear that if the organization is going to play favorites and exclude players based on personal vendettas, they're going to have a massive problem with her too. This move has sent shockwaves through the executive offices because Caitlin currently holds every single piece of leverage in the industry. She's the one bringing in the record-breaking television ratings, the sellout crowds in every city, and the multi-million-dollar jersey sales that are keeping the league afloat. And if she decides to back a blacklisted player like Sophie, the union's entire power dynamic is going to crumble into dust. People are calling this the Great WNBA Divide, and it's exposing a deep-seated culture of gatekeeping that many veterans and union leaders have tried to keep hidden from the public for decades. For years, the WNBA operated like a small, tight-knit club, where everyone followed the same unspoken rules. But now that the spotlight is blindingly bright, the cracks are starting to show, and they are massive. Sophie Cunningham has been incredibly outspoken about the need for the league to embrace its competitive, sometimes DMN, messy nature. And that didn't sit well with the establishment figures who want to control every single aspect of the narrative. The rumors of this union ban aren't just about missing social media posts or being left out of a highlight reel. They're about who gets a seat at the table when the new collective bargaining agreement is negotiated. We're talking about hundreds of millions of dollars in potential revenue. And if a player is deemed difficult or doesn't align with the union's internal politics, they might find themselves left out of the biggest payday in the history of women's sports. This is exactly why Caitlin's defense of Sophie is such a monumental moment. It's a signal to the entire world that the new generation of stars isn't going to let the clique culture of the past dictate their professional futures. If the league's biggest draw is willing to go to bat for someone the union is actively trying to erase, it changes the math for everyone involved. critics and haters are already coming out of the woodwork to claim that Caitlyn is overstepping her rookie status and should know her place. But her massive fan base argues that she's the only one with the courage and the platform to call out the blatant hypocrisy of an organization that claims to support all women while actively suppressing some of its most popular athletes. The tension in the locker rooms and the league offices is so thick you could cut it with a knife, especially as reports surface that several high-profile veterans are DMN, unhappy with Caitlyn's growing influence over internal union matters. They feel like she hasn't earned her stripes through years of low pay and travel struggles. But in a modern sports world driven by metrics, engagement, and cold hard cash, Caitlyn's voice is the only one that truly resonates with the sponsors and the networks. Speaking of the brands, the major sponsors are watching this union ban situation with extreme scrutiny because no multinational corporation wants to be tied to a league that's caught in the middle of a mean girl controversy or a campaign of internal suppression. Sophie Cunningham is a marketing dream. She's charismatic, physically tough, and knows exactly how to stir the pot and keep people talking. And the fact that the union would try to off her career momentum just to prove a point is a massive red flag for potential investors who are looking for stability and growth. This isn't just about a game of basketball anymore. It's about the very soul of the WNBA and whether it can handle the transition from being a niche, protected sport to becoming a global powerhouse where the players actually have individual power. Every time a new rumor surfaces about a player being snubbed or silenced by the union, the fans rally even harder, creating a Streisand effect, where the person the union tries to hide becomes the most talked about person in the league. The WNBA is finding out the hard way that they can't control the conversation like they used to when the league was smaller and the media coverage was sparse. The era of secret bans, locker room offing of reputations, and veteran-led cliques is being exposed in real time on social media, and Caitlyn Clark is the one holding the brightest flashlight. There are even whispers starting to circulate in the inner circles that a group of influential players, led by the league's rising stars who are tired of the old way of doing things, might be considering the nuclear option of forming their own breakaway faction or demanding a total overhaul of union leadership if the bias doesn't stop immediately. Imagine the absolute chaos that would ensue if the primary faces of the league decided to walk away from the very organization meant to protect them, because they felt that organization was actually working against their interests. This situation is evolving by the hour, and with Sophie Cunningham refusing to back down and Caitlyn Clark standing her ground against the establishment, this shocking union ban might just be the catalyst for the biggest revolution the WNBA has ever seen in its 30-year history. The league is currently standing at a crossroads, and the decisions made by the union leadership in the next few weeks will determine if the sport thrives and reaches its full potential, or if it burns under the weight of its own internal politics and petty jealousies. One thing is for certain: the days of playing it safe and following the unwritten rules set by the veterans who are afraid of change are officially over. As the ratings continue to climb to heights never before seen, and the controversies keep stacking up, everyone is left wondering who will be the next target of the union's gatekeeping, and who will have the guts to speak up next when they see an injustice. It's a high-stakes game of professional poker, where the winners get the glory and the generational wealth, and the losers get phased out of the history books by their own peers. Right now, Caitlyn and Sophie are rewriting the rules of engagement as they go, showing the world that you don't have to be part of the in crowd to be a powerhouse in this league. This isn't just a catchy headline designed to get clicks. It's a legitimate warning shot to the entire sports world that the status quo is being dismantled, piece by piece, by the very people who were supposed to be its new employees. Whether the union likes it or not, the power has shifted from the boardroom to the court, and the shocking ban that was meant to silence a player has instead given her the loudest, most influential microphone she's ever had in her life. We are literally watching history unfold in the most DMN dramatic way possible. And it's a lot more complicated and intense than just a game played with a ball and a hoop. The fallout from Caitlin Clark's defense of Sophie Cunningham is going to resonate through the sports world for years to come. And it might just be the exact moment we look back on as the day the WNBA finally grew up and realized that it's too big for small-minded politics. But don't think for a second that the old guard is going to go down without a fight, because the rumors of retaliation are already starting to fly, and what happens next in this power struggle could change the face of women's basketball forever. The question isn't just about who's right or who's wrong. It's about who has the staying power to survive a league that is currently at war with itself. As more details surface about the secret meetings and the private accusations being thrown around behind closed doors, the public is starting to realize that the shocking union ban was just the tip of the iceberg. There are layers to this story that involve brand deals, television contracts, and even the way certain players are offed from national ad campaigns because they don't have the right friends in the union office. It's a system that worked when the league was struggling to survive, but now that it's thriving, that same system is becoming a cage for the athletes who are actually driving the growth. Caitlin Clark's intervention wasn't just a friendly gesture toward a teammate or a rival. It was a calculated strike against a power structure that she clearly views as outdated and harmful to the collective success of the players. When you're the person responsible for a 400% increase in viewership, people have to listen when you talk, even if they hate what you're saying. And right now, the union leadership is listening with a mix of fear and DMN anger as their blackball tactics are exposed to the light of day. Sophie Cunningham, for her part, seems to be leaning into the controversy, knowing that having the league's golden girl in her corner makes her virtually untouchable by the petty bureaucrats who tried to sideline her. This is the kind of drama that you couldn't write in a Hollywood script, yet it's playing out in real time, in arenas across the country. The union ban might have been intended to make Sophie an example of what happens when you don't fall in line. But instead, it's made her a symbol of resistance for every player who has ever felt overlooked or undervalued by the system. And as for Caitlin, she's proving that her impact on the game goes way beyond the three-point line. She's reshaping the actual business and political landscape of the sport before she's even finished her first year. This is the huge news that everyone is talking about, and it's only going to get DMN crazier as we move closer to the off-season. Every time the union tries to talk a player or minimize their contributions, they are now going to have to look over their shoulder to see if the league's biggest star is ready to call them out on it. The dynamic has been permanently altered, and there's no going back to the way things were before. The fans are more engaged than ever, the players are more empowered than ever, and the union is more defensive than ever. It's a recipe for a total meltdown or a total transformation, and we are all here to see which one happens first. If you thought the drama on the court was intense, just wait until the full details of these union accusations and bans are finally revealed in the upcoming investigations, because the fallout will be nothing short of explosive for everyone involved in the WNBA. This isn't just about Sophie and Caitlin. It's about the standard for how professional athletes should be treated by their own representatives. When the dust finally settles on this union ban scandal, the WNBA will likely look like a completely different league, one where the players' voices actually carry the weight they deserve, regardless of their clique status. The era of the soft ban is coming to a crashing end, and the Caitlin Clark effect is the wrecking ball that started it all. Stay tuned, because the next shit to hit the fan might be the most shocking development yet, in a season that has already redefined everything we thought we knew about professional basketball. The pressure is mounting, the fans are demanding answers, and the union's wall of silence is starting to crumble under the weight of the truth. It's a new day in the WNBA, and it's DMN exciting to watch. Each new development in this saga reinforces the idea that the old ways of doing business are no longer sustainable in a world where the athletes themselves have more reach than the organizations they play for. The ban on Sophie Cunningham was a tactical error of massive proportions, a relic of a time when the union could control a player's image with impunity. But in the age of social media and individual branding, those tactics have backfired spectacularly, turning a targeted player into a martyr for the cause of fairness and transparency. Caitlin Clark's decision to involve herself in this mess shows a level of maturity and strategic thinking that many didn't expect from a rookie, proving that she understands the power she wields is not just about points and assists, but about the very infrastructure of her profession. As the story continues to blow up, we are seeing more players start to find their voices, emboldened by the fact that the most famous player in the world has their backs. This is how real change happens, not through polite requests in boardrooms, but through public defiance and the refusal to let DMN unfairness go unchallenged. The WNBA is growing up, and the growing pains are being felt by everyone from the commissioner's office to the union reps who thought they could operate in the shadows. The shocking union ban is the spark, but the fire is spreading quickly, and it's going to burn away the old, toxic elements of the league's culture until only the truth and the talent remain. We're witnessing the birth of a new era, and it's going to be incredible to see where it leads the sport next. The conversation around this controversy has moved beyond the sports pages and into the mainstream, with people who have never even watched a game of basketball asking why a professional union would try to off the career of one of its most popular members. The optics are terrible, and the union knows it, which is why we're seeing a desperate attempt to rebrand or reword their previous actions as mere administrative oversights or marketing shifts. But the fans aren't buying it, and neither is Caitlin Clark. The demand for accountability is at an all-time high, and the clique culture that has dominated the league for so long is finally being called out for exactly what it is: a barrier to progress. Every time a veteran player or a union official tries to downplay the situation, they only add fuel to the fire, proving that they are out of touch with the new reality of the sport. Sophie Cunningham's ban has become a rallying cry for anyone who has ever felt like an outsider in their own industry, and the support she's receiving from Caitlin is the ultimate validation. This is more than just a storm in a teacup. It's a fundamental shift in the power balance of professional sports. The world is watching to see how the WNBA handles this crisis, and whether they will choose to embrace the future or cling to the failing tactics of the past. The stakes for the upcoming CBA negotiations have been raised to a level that no one could have predicted, with the union ban scandal serving as a constant reminder of why the current system needs to be dismantled. The athletes are no longer just employees. They are the product, the marketing team, and the power brokers all rolled into one. And as long as they stay united against the DMN unfairness of the old guard, there's nothing they can't achieve. The shocking union ban was supposed to be a secret, a quiet way to discipline a player who didn't follow the script, but instead, it has become the loudest story in the league. It's a classic case of an organization failing to realize that the world has changed around them, and the price of that failure is going to be a complete loss of control over the narrative. Caitlin Clark and Sophie Cunningham